now.
All right. So now, again, I'm not very, really invested in the chemical composition of this couch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it allows me to free me up and get into the space of, okay, well, let me get into the space of things that I don't know.
Right.
Right. So now, when we're in that, when we ask that question, right, we authentically ask that question. If you don't know the answer, we do them first 3 warm-up questions, right?
Okay.
And you'll get better at it, over time, to the point where you don't necessarily have to ask those 3 warm-up questions, but for really difficult things, or really things that I'm really invested in, or like bigger things, like, yo, do I do this retreat or not? Like, do I put this on? Do I work with this person or not? Do I go out on a date with this person or not? Like, my automatics are going to be already in that space. It's usually no. Because I don't want to do nothing. I'm happy. I don't want to do nothing. Everything I do is to fulfill some kind of purpose. And if I'm like doing a thing in order to, I don't even want to resonate with that. Right. So, but that's my brain sometimes. So I got to be careful, like, what part of me is actually answering this question. So that's why you ask the 3 questions to kind of warm up. It's just like you working out. You're not just going to go out there and try and hit your max. You're not just going to start taking off and running in a sprint. You're going to warm up. So those 3 questions. And you guys at home, you can, ask. You can create your own versions, or you can just use those because it works. How many stars are there in the universe? We don't know. What's the exact amount of drops? How heavy is the ocean? All these things. Right? And then you ask the thing that you want to know the answer to. Right? Okay. Like, hey, should I marry this woman? Right? From that same space.
Right? Okay.
You know what I mean? Or, hey, should I start this business? Right? So you do those 3 warm-ups. And then you actively listen for an answer. Now, this one takes less of an explanation, so it's really, really quick. To actively listen for is to not passively listen. Passively listening or passively hearing. We're always hearing things. Right? You're hearing my voice. You might be hearing the hum of the AC. You might hear things that are going on. These are hearing. It's always happening. Right? But the actively listen, it's like a deer, or if you ever had a dog and you hear a noise outside, and boop, it listens, right? Now, the same thing, we do the same thing as well. And I like to give the analogy, like, say if like something is 2:00 in the morning and all of a sudden you hear a knock on the door and you go up to that bed, you ask, who is it? You're going to be actively listening for, not to, you're going to be listening for like a familiar voice. What if it's the police? Absolutely. Hey, who are you? Like, hey, what? You're going to be actively listening because there's something there that you got to tune into, right? So you're tuning. Otherwise, you're just going to be hearing. So we want to get into that active part, right? So actively listen as if you're listening.
Right. You're really listening.
Right? And I'm waiting for that answer. Right? Now, here's the cool part about it. God is always waiting on us, man. He's always waiting, right? So, like, we behind schedule most of the time on things that we right? So he ain't going to wait. Right, so it's immediate. It's not like it don't take a long time. It's immediate. Right. And then we immediately, this is the 3rd step, immediately say it out loud. Right. Now the reason why we say it out loud is because that brain is a supercomputer. It can go back yes, no, create deception for you so quick, fast, and in a hurry. 100 times back and forth in 3 seconds. It could be like yes, no, because it tells you the life story of reasons why. Right. So we state it out loud immediately, so we get it out of the trash heap, get it out of the trash dump of our past, and then we get it out into the universe, right? And we're using that frequency, that word, sound, power, right? And then we can do the 4th step, which is reflect on how it feels, because that is going to have a feeling. That resonance, that frequency is going to have a feeling associated with it. Right. You're connecting to your higher self with that frequency. Okay. Right? And so you'll know it'll either feel positive or negative. It'll either be a love experience or a fear experience. Okay. All right. Now, if it isn't one of those 2 and you get nothing, I'm like, I don't feel anything, it's neutral. Well, the reason why it's neutral is because you didn't do the 1st step. You never asked. You didn't ask, so you're not authentic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, if you don't give God a call, he can't pick up the phone, bro. Like, you can't call your higher self if you're not even picking up the phone. Like, you can't be like, yo, I gotta dial that person first, give an opportunity to get to my higher self, which is directly connected to the Most High. All right. So that's now let's make a distinction here. This is really important for that step 4. We're gonna be like, oh, it feels good, right? it was like, oh, should you leave this dude who's cheating on you, right? And be like, yeah. I was like, heck yeah, if that feels good, yeah, I don't leave his bitch ass because he, right? And it might feel good, you know what I'm saying? Like in the form of good that our brain calls good, not what actually feels, the feeling, right? I was like, yeah, it feels good. Tell them, yeah, that's what they get. It's punishment, blah, 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 right? That's not actually good though. It don't, like good is like candy, you know what I'm saying? Good is like a hug from mom,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Good is like when you're hanging out with the homies and you guys play that game and you just say, oh snap, and everybody wins. It's like the championship. That's good. Right? That's that good feeling, right? It is not, you know, whatever like negative form that got a sugar coating of yeah, this is good. All right. And y'all know the difference. It's up to y'all to be responsible for how you pay attention to this technique. This technique is foolproof, right? Foolproof, right? Foolproof. If you do it with integrity, it will work, but it's just like anything. If you don't do it with integrity, then it's not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
Like this is not like one of them, you know, I mean, there's no scam because there's nothing to buy. I'm giving y'all this for free. Jalen didn't pay me to be on this thing. I'm fulfilling purpose, right? So like this is for free for you, just like there's free things on YouTube about how to work out, but people don't be working out in Texas. They don't do it, right? So it ain't because God didn't create an opportunity for you to talk to him, or it's world just so crazy, or because you don't know, because if you're listening to this, now you know, all right? So you're on the hook, and it's good to be on the hook because then you're responsible. That means you have power.
That's
With
right.
great power comes great responsibility. The same in the inverse. With great responsibility comes great power. You want power in your life? Start being responsible. Be responsible for things that it's almost impossible to be responsible for. We can be responsible for anything.
Right.
I can be responsible for freaking Hitler if I chose to.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I have met a tyrant in my life. And there are times that I did something, and there are times that I did nothing. I just sat there and just let them do whatever. You're one of them Germans that were up there in Germany that allowed Hitler to come to power. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen somebody while they're in power doing messed up stuff and then not take them out of that power and not stop them from doing it, or not, you know, go along with whatever status quo that they're creating for you to do? Heck yeah.
So you were somewhat responsible.
Yeah, so I'm like, hey man, maybe I'm not responsible specifically for that Hitler, but for other Hitlers in the world, you know, and other variations and versions of it that cause harm to people. Yeah, I could choose that. So now that I'm responsible for it, so next time I see it, I'm gonna do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like next time I see it, like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I have actually beat up bullies that were bullying kids just to go around. Like, yeah, I fought them. I protected some people in my life as well, so I can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that speaking out loud immediately and then seeing how it feels, it's going to be either, there's only two energies really in the universe. It's love and fear. It's positive and negative, right? Mm-hmm. There's balance in the world, but let's look at all the love experiences that you would have to make it easier to distinguish, right? Love experiences are smiling, joy, laughter, excitement, appreciation, gratitude, peace, calm, right?
Right.
Fear experiences, it's sadness, frowning, worry, anxiety, jealousy, depression, anger, apathy, right? So all of these things, they have, like, look at it like, remember the parabolas that we have, or hyperbola or whatever, when we look at the spectrum. So right here you got 0 point, right, which is no life. There's nothing here. But as soon as you get a positive 1, that might be smiling. Negative 1, frowning. Positive 2, laughter. Mm-hmm. Negative 2, crying. Right? Positive 3, excitement. Negative 3, nervousness. Right? Each one has a sister, because the universe is in balance. So each one has a sister emotion, right? But I don't say emotion. Let me recreate that. That's my bad. Feeling. A sister feeling, right? A sister experience. These are all experiences. By the way, that's the secret about what type of beings we are. Like, we're human beings, but like, what about spirit? What type of spirit are we? Like, what kind of entities are we? Like, what really are we? We are experiential beings. Because it's all about experience. Look, I mean, just pay attention to life. Everything that we do, we're trying to get an experience or avoid an experience, right? Either way, and when we in this life, we know we can't take nothing with us except for our experiences.
That's it.
You can't take your money, you can't take your women, you can't take your kids, you can't take none of that stuff.
Can't take nothing.
But all you can take is your experience, right? So, and that's what you get respect. That's what you get your perspective on when you die, right? So now that's the main 4 steps. Again, you're gonna have that experience. Pay attention to how it feels when you say, question, authentically ask out loud. Do I go to the grocery store right now? Right? Or should I go to the grocery store right now? Right? It's gonna say yes or no. Let's say it's yes. Then you say yes, right? And then you reflect on how it feels. Does that feel positive or does that feel negative? If it feels negative, don't do it. If it feels positive, do it. Whatever you do, you're gonna get the results of that experience. If you listen to a love emotion, you're gonna get the experience of a love emotion.
Okay.
Right? If you make a decision to do the fear one, you're gonna get a negative experience. That's what you're gonna get. Right? And all we got to do is check every single time we did that throughout our life. It's like it's all there in front of us. It's just so hard to see because it's right in front of our face.
Yeah, it's crazy but it's so simple.
Yeah, it's like it's not that like you say, oh, life is so difficult. Like it's not. It really is not. We make it difficult.
That's what we make it
difficult. Life is real simple. It's real simple, and it's as difficult as you make it, but it's not complicated like that.
That's that's facts.
So. Those are those forces. And if for some reason you don't feel anything, then you didn't do the first thing, go back to the first step. Now, here's what I loved about math and what they taught us about the, hey, check your work, right? And so within the same thing, check your work. What I recommend is you ask the first question authentically, right? And then you state that answer and then reflect on how it feels. And then ask it again and state the inverse. Right? And then ask it again and state the initial answer that you got.
Okay.
We double check our work. And the reason why is, remember, the brain's going to be answering. Sometimes we don't know which one it is. Might be a little bit fuzzy on the feeling. But once you start to gauge like, oh, you get in the water, you dip your foot in the water. And you're like, is it cold? Is it, all right, okay, now I'm in it, right? So you dip in, you pull out, you dip in, you pull out, okay, now you gauge. Now you got to gauge. You got the positive, the negative, the positive, right? Or the negative, the positive, the negative, right? It's going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So it's a very simple technique. We're going to make it as difficult as we want to as individuals, but it's very simple. You do that, and you're going to get your answers. Now, here's where the power comes in, of course, is acting based on that choice. Because this is just a concept, right? You're thinking about things and you're saying things, but when you do it, that's when you put into action. That's where your faith comes in. That's where that power comes in, right? You got to walk on faith. You got to believe it, right? And if you don't believe it, of course, and you don't do in line or you halfway do it, you double dutch, you fence it, you lukewarm that bit, well, you're going to get spit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to have the experience because you're going based on fear.
Yeah.
Or it's either in or out. And why do we use, I recommend that people use, especially when they're beginning, 50-50 answers, right? It's either yes or no questions. Don't ask, hey, what's the name of the woman I'm supposed to marry?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's so, like, it's not like, there's no use in testing the concept that abstractly.
Right.
Make it a yes or no, because it's so easy to gauge the feeling of a yes than the inverse of the no.
Right.
Right. It's easy to gauge that. Like, you can, this feels positive, this feels negative. And so like, oh, his name's Sally. Well, maybe her actual middle name is Sally and her first name is Samantha, but people call her Sally. There's all this other kind of, frequency.
Just mixing other stuff in makes it way more difficult.
Yeah, so like, just make it easy on yourself, yes or no, right? So let's practice. Let's do a practice with them, and then we'll get into the poly stuff.
Okay.
What's anything that you would want to know the answer to?
Let's see.
About in life, it could be big or small.
Let's say, will I become successful?
All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of coaching here. All right. Try and define what your success is. Okay. So that's a lot easier for you to receive the answer. Now, you can ask that question, but try and be as specific as you can in these questions. It's like, yo, you got God in front of you.
Right.
Are you gonna ask like the abstract questions, or you know, or are you gonna ask like the real, like, yo, so will I be successful in this, or will I, you know, whatever version of success? Like, what does success mean to you? And like, what is success?
I'll say for me, I'll just use the podcast as an example. Like, I want to get to a point where I'm already starting to reach people, but I want to be able to reach a wide range of people. Eventually, I want to start doing life coaching.
Right.
And so I guess when I say success in that is, you know, being able to reach a lot of people, being able to impact a lot of people.
Okay.
In that type of sense of success, not really money. It's really just.
Okay, cool. So like there's the impact. Okay, so again, now I'll give you some more coaching, narrowing it down, because what we're doing is a manifestation exercise right now.
Okay.
Right? You're getting to get clear about your vision of what you want in life. Right. Okay. So the more specific you can get is the more power you can get. Like, you don't want to get so nitty gritty. Like, will I reach 4,675 people on Monday the 3rd? You know what I mean? But like, you know, like, you can get a little bit more specific and like, okay, like, when you say a lot of people, what does a lot of people look like? Does that look like 10 people? Does it look like 100 people? Does it look like 1,000 people? Or like 10,000? Or like 100,000? You know, what does that look like to you?
Right. Is that the question?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, one of my goals is to be able to reach 100,000 people. That's like one of my first goals.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then the question is, will I be able to reach 100,000 people?
Okay.
What I'm doing, right? Because it's like
that's knowing it.
And you can ask, like, okay, hey, success can be like, hey, will I wake up tomorrow? That's a success. You're
right. That's a success.
Like, bro, you succeeded at life because you didn't fail and die, right? So, hey, that's a success, right? So good. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go with that. So go ahead and ask that question. And remember, when you ask it in the spirit of, I don't know the answer. Not I think it's far-fetched. I think I'm definitely gonna do it. No, just like, hey, just open wide ass question. Go ahead.
With my podcast, will I reach 100,000 people?
All right. Second step, like you listen and immediately state, right? So now you didn't actively listen. So you asked, right? And then you were passively hearing, right?
Right.
So now you're gonna do again. Now you're gonna ask that for by the way, you did that great. You did that great. You did the first step, which is very difficult to do. You did the first step great, because we all can feel it. Whoever's watching this, they can feel like, he wasn't really asking. He had some kind of past in that bit. Like, he was, you know what I mean? We all can feel it. That's why we all know when somebody's lying to us. Like, we're all connected, right? So, acknowledge you for that first step being great. Now, the second step, you're going to actively listen. Remember, it doesn't even take that much time. Okay. Like, it's going to be within the first 2 seconds, right? Okay. So, we're going to actively listen. Now, the active listen is to, like, you don't listen. Like, it's an action. Like, listen, all right? So go ahead and ask the question, all right? And then actively listen.
Okay. With my podcast, will I reach 100,000 people?
All right. So now what did you hear?
You know, I don't think I hear anything, but I feel something.
Okay. Now you felt something. Now you're going straight to the fourth step, right? Okay. Now, we already know the answer to this, right? Both you and I know the answer to this, but we want to get present to it. We want to get present, right? So what you did is you skipped the step of studying out loud and also listening, right? Because what you did. Now, here's the thing: when you said, and when you watch it, just go ahead and watch this back, right at that moment, right? When he said, I said, well, what did you hear? Then you were like, you looked up and you saw it, like, well, I didn't really hear anything. I felt. The action started to happen. You literally looked up as if you're like, right? You were reflecting, you were listening, you were something in there, right? Right. So try that. So what we'll do right now, just a little boost to your strategy on step 2, right? Literally do this, right? Like, hey, will I reach 100,000 people? You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Put a physical action to it so that you get into practice of like actively listening instead of just passively hearing. Right?
Okay.
And then, and I'm going to give you the second step to follow up on that is whatever you hear, yes, no, just state it out loud. Just state it out loud.
Okay.
Don't think about it, reflect on it, just get it out.
All right.
All right? We'll try it again.
All right. Will I reach 100,000 people with my podcast?
So what did you hear?
I hear yes.
All right. So now you heard it, right?
Yeah.
Then you do to state it out loud.
Yeah.
Now there's a reason, right? There's a reason. Now you're an intelligent man, right? And you knew the prompt, right? And you knew the coaching.
Right.
Say it out loud.
Right.
Right? Now that, and not only that, you're also eager.
Right.
Like I can feel it. Like, you know, you're there. You're not resisting. You're not putting stuff blocks up in space. You know what I'm saying? You're eager. You're like, hey, this is cool. I like this. I want to do this. Right?
Yeah.
So notice though the hesitancy to actually speak it out loud. That's not you. That's your brain.
Oh, okay.
All right, because this is something in line of what's something that you want, and deep down, our brains believe that we're not good enough for what we want, so it goes to sabotage it. Not because it thinks that it's deadly if we get it. No, it's deadly if we get it and lose it, or deadly if we don't get it. It's like the experience that we get of going after it and then failing. It's afraid of failure. It's afraid of the loss aspect of it. Okay. That's why when we do get success, in whatever varied level of success that we get, it starts to sabotage it, because above all, it wants to be right. It don't want to be good. It don't want to be happy. It wants to be right, because right is safe.
Right.
You understand? So as long as I'm determining what's going on and I got control of this stuff, then we're going to be alive. We can be miserable, but we're going to be alive. Right? You know, so that's where we want to get into to get out of that space of like, we want to speak it out, because it's trying to block you. And it's always trying to block you. And it's not just everybody who's listening to this. It's every single human being. We all go through this. We all have somewhere in our minds, either by default, like, I don't think I can do this, or it's the overcompensation version, the polar opposite of compensation. It's like, I can do everything. I deserve this, right? Like, nah, you don't deserve anything. You also don't not deserve anything. Like, it's not deserving nothing. Does Trump deserve to be president? I mean, like, a lot of people would say no. A lot of people would say no. But he's still president, right?
Right.
You know, does the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, do they deserve to be running the world? Like, doesn't matter. It doesn't, deserving doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and that's where we get our conflicts with God as a concept. We're like, yo, well, does that kid in, you know, the middle of the Amazon, do they deserve to have their homes taken away by loggers, or, you know, those burying babies, you know, with the stomachs out to here? Do they deserve to have starvation? I'm like, bro, it has nothing to do with deserving.
Nothing to do with that.
Like, you're bringing in a factor that literally is not a computation. It's not a computation.
Right.
In the universe, anyway. In your mind, it is, but not in the universe. All right. There's plenty of people that we can agree with our own individual minds that don't deserve stuff that have that stuff. So why not you? Why can't you be one of the people that don't deserve it that still get it anyway? You know what I mean? If you want to start, go there. Like, hey, why not me? Just why not me?
Why not? You know?
Hey, like, I could be one of them as well. You know, so try it one more time. Okay. Right? We're gonna ask the question. Right? You're doing that great, and then listening, and then state it out loud. Boom! Immediately.
Okay. Will I reach 100,000 people with my podcast? Yes.
All right. Now, how does that feel?
It feels good.
Then that's it. That's your answer. All right. Now, that's very easy and that's very simple. Right. But what if that question for whoever woman is watching this is, should I stay with my husband? Right? And the answer is no, right? And it feels good. No, right? And then it's like, but you ain't. Let's say you're a homemaker, right? And then she's like, but then that means that I got that means, right? So we're gonna do that one more time. Now, what my coaching for you, like in your practice, would be to expedite that process, because you waited for like 5-6 seconds. There's like 1,000 answers that can go on back. There's reflection answers that you got that are going in there. There's reflections about those reflections that are going in there, right? Instead of just immediately stating it out loud, whatever you hear.
Okay.
Like, hey, do I want to take a sip of water? Yes. Okay, that feels good. Grab the water.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
The life will be so much. It's not even going to be better, bro. It's going to be so different. So your experience with life is going to be different because you're always going to be walking in line, powerful. Right. Regardless of obstacles, you're still walking. Regardless of deception, you're still walking. Regardless of the downfalls and milestones that ain't hit by the time you say you thought you was gonna hit it. Blah blah blah. Oh no, that means look, I'm at 999,999. I thought it was gonna be a million today. You know, right. You could be about not hitting a million. Mind you, you passed 100,000 9 times.
Way before.
You understand? And so that's like, so it's a balancing act, right? It's a balancing act. Like, yeah, have the solid number in your mind, have the solid goal in your mind, and then like claim it and then detach from it.
Right.
Right? And then when you get it, experience it, be fully in the experience. And when you're not in it, when you didn't get it yet, still being fully in that experience. And all that, because that's the secret, bro. That's the secret. It ain't about the destination, it's about the journey, but that's the concept. But how do you do that? Like, yo, today I'm on my way, like I'm doing it, I'm in action right now. I'm in the presence of like feeling like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It don't matter what I'm getting. It don't matter how many views I got, it don't matter how much money I got, it doesn't matter how much all these things that I'm getting from that. I'm in the action of doing the thing that I wanted to do in the first place.
Exactly.
Like you're literally in action doing it.
Right.
Right? So as you practice this, right? You start to practice. I recommend everybody do it at least 3 times a day.
Okay.
Right? Do it at least 3 times a day. We answer, and that. But so for this one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the 3 steps. We're gonna ask the question.
Okay.
And then get the answer, state it out loud, and then we're gonna reflect on how it feels. And I'm gonna ask you how it feels. Then you're gonna do the same thing again. You're gonna state no.
Okay.
Exact same thing again. You're gonna state yes. It's gonna get you present to. Well, is it just how I'm feeling right now?
Right.
Good right now. No, it's consistent. You could ask this until you blue in the face. You will get the same answer every single time, and the answer will always feel the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? That's the great thing about the universe is all crazy and abstract and all that stuff like that. We look at all this stuff, but God is real consistent. It's real consistent. That's the one guiding light, that avenue that we can have in this crazy lost ass life, is we can have some kind of consistency in that space. Like, the sun is always gonna be hot, homie. It's always gonna be hot. It might not even be a bright day, you know what I'm saying? Because it might be hot, but the sun is always gonna be hot. It's gonna be as hot as it's gonna be. Right? Will be the temperature that it is. That's what's up. Right?
Facts.
Till the sun is not the sun anymore, and it's just a dead star. Right? So let's do it. Ask the question.
Okay. With my podcast, will I reach 100,000 people? Yes.
All right. How'd I feel?
Felt really good.
Yeah. All right. So now ask the exact same thing and then state no.
Okay. Will I reach 100,000 people with my podcast? No.
All right. Now, how does that feel?
Doesn't feel, if it doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah. So, but like, get present though. Like, it's not about what it doesn't feel like, because your brain's going to say the same thing for the yeses. Like, oh, it doesn't feel the best in the world. So that means that I'm not supposed to, like, oh, it only made you smile that time. It didn't make you laugh and giggle like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just positive or negative. Like, what does it feel like, right? Let's focus on. So say the same thing again. Say no, and then say what it actually does feel like. Go ahead.
Okay. Will I reach 100,000 people with my podcast? No.
Yeah, how does that feel?
It doesn't feel like, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain. It just doesn't feel like that's the answer.
Yeah, so get out of the abstract, right? And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do positive or negative. We're gonna get into polarity, all right? Okay. This is why it's a simple step, but it can be as difficult as we make it, right? Yeah. Let's get into polarity. So either it feels positive or negative. It doesn't matter if it's like what version of positive or what version of negative. We're just gonna get into like what does it feel like?
Like what does it feel like?
Yeah, does it feel positive or negative? Do I feel positive, negative, positive, negative? All right, not bad, just positive, negative.
Okay.
All right, go. All right, one more time.
All right. will I reach 100,000 subscribers or 100,000 people with my podcast? No.
Now, how does it feel? Positive, negative?
It feels negative.
Right. Now, you can look back when you watch this. You're going to see, like, we got micro expressions in our right? You're going to see the way that your face looks like different when you get present to how it felt. Like, it's like, you do like this kind of like little, like, and the other one, you're like, hey, this feels good, right? It's a difference, right? Yeah. Now, your brain, as it begins to adapt to try and take back control over this new thing that you're learning, right? It's gonna try and recreate, make fake versions and all the stuff like that, but the feeling is always gonna be constant. Like you're gonna always feel it. So now, for one more time, now let's state the first answer that you got. All right, so we did the first and the inverse and then the first again. All right, so go ahead.
Okay. With my podcast, will I reach 100,000 people? Yes.
All right. Now, how does that feel?
It feels good.
Right. So that's how you know, this is for everybody out there, that's how you know this is your answer. This is what's so for you.
Right.
Right? That's what's so for you. Right. So if we continue to make actions that are in line with that, then we're going to have those results. Right. And we don't even wait for the results to get that experience, because what you just experienced right then was the success of 100,000 people met. Wow. Right. We don't even got to wait. That's why it's like, it's one of those funny things. And we're like, damn, why does life got to be so hard? Well, I mean, a video game that like Mario's going from here to there. There's no Koopa. There's no holes. There's nothing to jump over. You just literally run. There's no mushrooms. You just go from here and then jump up to here. You know, like it's not as fun necessarily. Right. It's not as fun. It's not as fun. So you're like, oh, why God makes life so hard? It's like, because when it's super easy, you might get bored. Now, if we could always access experience that we want, we will seldom, if ever, do things. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's just what you're up to. For me, personally, like I barely do anything. Right. Happy all the time. It's not like I'm barely doing anything and I'm depressed and I'm worried and I think I'm not accomplishing. Well, no, I barely do anything because if it doesn't light me up, I just don't want to do it. Hey, that's facts. I feel that. Like, oh, my woman will ask me like, hey, babe, I'm about to go jogging. Do you want to go jogging with me? I'm like, nope. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what the reasons are. Yeah, my knees are bad from running track all them damn years. You know what I mean? Yeah, it could be hot outside. I could not be stressed. I didn't eat and all this. It don't matter what the reasons are. I really don't care. I submit. I don't want to. No. Right. I don't want to. And she get upset. Like, well, you want to do anything that I want to do? I was like, no, babe. Like, there's things that I want to do that I want to do, and there's things that I don't want to do that I don't want to do, and that has nothing to do with you. Don't take it personally. Yeah. Exactly. There are times that I do things that I don't want to do that are for you, that I do it because I want to do something for you. Right. You know what I mean? How I'm washing these dishes. I hate washing dishes, but I'm washing these dishes because I know that you like to see the dishes clean and you cooked and you did whatever. So I'm creating that. I'm doing this, or I cooked and I did for you. And I'm doing these things for the sake of the experience that I want to give you and that I want to have. Right. But I don't necessarily want to do this individual thing. But like, now's an opportunity for you to get present, to be appreciative all the times that I do those things that aren't necessarily fun for you, instead of looking at this instance and being like, yo, but you don't want to go out with me. You don't want to go out. I was like, no, I don't. And, you can try to make me feel wrong for it, but I don't feel wrong for it. Right. I'm not being an asshole. I'm just letting you know, babe. Like, I don't want to do it. Go ahead and do it. You can do it. You can go with somebody else. Right. I don't have to be there. Like, there's times that I want to go diving and I don't want to go diving all the time. Do you want to go diving all the time? No. Am I making you wrong for that? No. Right. Come on. You know what I mean? Try it on. You see me here not resenting you for not being able to go diving all the damn time every day? I'm not resenting you. I want to be out there every day. And when I'm out there all day. And I know you only want to be out there for an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3. Right. I want to be out there 12. You know what I mean? But like, that's the game of life. Now we playing like, hey, you want to come to my party a little bit? Don't come to your party a little bit, but don't make me be at your party and live at your party all the time. You don't want to be there, right? So that's the that's the trick. That's the secret. Practice it. You know what I'm saying? Practice over and over and over again. And just like you've learned how to breathe. In sequence, if you're working out or you're doing whatever. Hey, this is a new thing to learn. You know what I'm saying? And it will make a difference if you do it with integrity. And I'm talking about like a difference. I don't like to help people. Helping someone is like helping a bum who's got is hungry. You give him $100, you can give him $1,000.
Right.
And then whenever that $1,000 run out, he's still gonna need. His life will be a little bit better, but it won't be different. He's still gonna need somebody else to give him something.
Right.
In order to be able to eat. Now, if you talk to that, dude on the side of the street, I'm saying, like, hey man, so what? First of all, do you want to be here?
Right.
Let me respect that. Sometimes they just want to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So, and if the answer is no, okay, then like, what is it that has you? What do you think that has you here? And not the place that you want to be. Like, where do you want to be? Let's get rid of those blocks that are stopping you. What do you think you need? Or like, here's what I think you need. Will you accept it? Or can I assist you in this? Right? Let's find those things that are blocking you, that have you in this place. Then eventually they will have the tools and the abilities to go out and procure food for themselves.
Right. And
they don't need you. That's a difference. So I like to teach people how to fish, not give them fish.
Right.
I'm doing like Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? I'm going back to the whole script. I ain't got to reinvent the wheel. There have been plenty greater than me before me that have learned these things, figured these things out, and all we got to do is rinse, lather, repeat. All right? Thanks. I'm not inventing stuff. God just gave me these steps in a specific, simple order for people that want to, because we in a crazy time. Like, the time's coming.
Yep, yeah.
So we got some crazy stuff going on in the world. So it's not about fear. It's just about being prepared and being aware.
That's it.
So, so the challenge to everyone out there: do them 4 steps. Recreate it real quickly. Authentically ask the question out loud. Actively listen for an answer. Immediately state out loud, not in your mind, but out loud. And then reflect on how it feels, positive or negative. All right. If you make the decision that goes along with the positive, you're gonna get the negative results. It's just gonna happen.
Right.
Right. And then by the way, it's no matter what that turnout is. For instance, I have been in relationships with women that I loved. Right. Specifically, one I remember is one of my exes. She said she lied about what was it? An artist that we were supposed to be doing a song for, and she lied calling the person. She was like doubling as the manager and an engineer. She liked engineering, to get clients. She was the manager and I was the producer, so she can be able to engineer if I produce artists that she got right. So she just didn't call. She did her sabotage thing. Things were going great. Yeah. We had the happy family. You know what I'm saying? It was me, her, and my other queen. Everything was going great. The other queen was here, right? She's an engineer and I'm a producer. That's a dope ass, unit.
Dope.
And she doubled as the manager, right? Because she always wanted things to engineer for. She loved mixing, and we both hated that, right? And so all she had to do was talk to people, and because she always did it. She always naturally did it. So it wasn't like outside of her comfort zone. She always did that. She was always talking to people, getting people gigs and stuff like that. I was like, well, hey, why don't you do it for us? Let's just keep it, and let's just do that same thing so that we can all eat, all have fun, and all enjoy our lives. And so, but she had a habit of, when things are going great, to sabotage things, like actively. It had nothing to do with us. It was just the way that her modus operandi. Right. And so, so she ended up lying about it, about the person. And then the person was like, yo, I found out, weeks later, the person's like, yeah, man, I've been trying to get in touch with you, but, I didn't hear anything from Chanel. She said she called them.
Oh, wow.
And then they didn't respond.
Wow.
And so it was like, well, when did you call? It's like, oh, just yesterday. It's like, okay. And then God was like, check the phone. Check the phone. I'm not that guy. Like, mind you, we're in a polyamorous relationship. I'm not check the phone to see who you with. No, I was like, but he was like, check the phone. I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right. Can I see your phone, please?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem.